continue from British Invention Show 2017, and we're talking to Roderick Brosse. You are inventor of a mud bug.
Mud bug, indeed,
Yes.
yeah. Okay.
So what is it?
Well, it came from a simple idea, a very simple idea. I had bought a mountain bike. I loved it, but I didn't like getting rain and road water all over me. And I didn't want to either put mud guards on. It totally spoils the look of the bike. It detracts from its rugged look. And that's similar also with road race bikes, which look lean and stripped down and racy. Don't put mud guards on them because they suddenly turn into a town bike and they don't look right, and it's not appealing. So back to the mountain bike, which is my more favourite bike. I thought what it needs is something that could be on the bike, on the tyre, does the job of a mud guard, but you'd hardly know it's on there. You'd hardly see it. It wouldn't detract from the look of the bike. So I'm going to just take this up. I took a computer mouse and I quite literally looked at it and thought, if it was about that big and sat on the tyre somewhere on the back and lower down on the front, how could I make something work from that? And then I remembered my mother's carpet cleaner, where there was a wheel inside with bristles and it spun round and it picked up the dirt. And I think, well, hang on a minute, that could work. So I made one and it worked beautifully, yeah, straight out. Mm-hmm. So this is a kind of version of it, a slightly better finished one than the one I first made, but it does work.
Is that the second prototype?
This is the second prototype, yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's a bit bigger than I wanted to sort of see how it worked. It's bigger than the mouse, you can see that.
Yeah.
But it does the job. Now, the active component is a wheel.
Yeah.
And the wheel could have a soft material or a bristle material or a combination of both, according to what type of tread is on the tyre. And it's the tyre revolving, the wheel revolving, which activates it. So it would sit on the bike, wherever you put it, so that the water spray is not going to hit you. Water comes up and hits this, and at that point the wheel is already revolving in a counter direction to the direction that's revolving. The wheel's going that way, this little wheel is going that way. Because it's a lot smaller than that wheel, one revolution of that, this is spinning like crazy.
So it literally rolls the water off and keeps the wheel clean?
It keeps the wheel clean, and it does it by four methods. One is water tension, which just grabs the water that's on the tyre and literally spins it off.
Yep.
Also the gyroscopic flinging effect, the water wants to come off the tyres, least excuse it will.
Yep.
There's also the airflow
that
this little spinning wheel causes, and on top of that you've got the kind of natural absorptive, friendly to water surface, which encourages the water to come off.
When you go in mountains, a lot of mud goes around actually, so it just literally...
It would literally just bang it like that. In fact, most of it would just deflect. It's very rare that a big lump of mud comes up. There will be a development of this. There'll be a kind of standard model. There'll be a more beefed up model for the guys who do downhill, mountain bike, for example, rough riding, where you do get cuts with stones and things. So,
Okay. Rod, tell me, why are you doing this? Because I know you have your colourful past in music business. So why are you doing this, and how you get funded? What's your conception about it?
Okay, well, where do you want to start? I mean, we've got a few there.
Well, I imagine you like to... I heard you now.
Okay, we can talk about that. Well, I come from an art background, but I was a guitarist from the age of about 14. Learning to play guitar. 15, I was in my first band. I had a couple of bands in the 60s, which one was The Sweet Feeling, the other one was Rufus People. They're both quite legendary bands now. But I was very fortunate. My drummer had got a job with Brian Epstein, and that led me to going to parties where I met the Beatles, and from that point on things just took over, and I found myself being invited to play on recordings and ultimately on John Lennon's Imagine album. And I played on 5 tracks of that album, and it was a very wonderful 3-day experience at John's home, and it's done my career no harm at all. He was a very nice man.
I think viewers want to know more. You get close to involved with Beatles. Did they come to your house, or did you go to their houses, or how?
I went. I mean, John's house was the only house I went to, in truth, where we recorded Imagine. Mm-hmm. I was asked to put a guitar on the Imagine track, and the story, I'll make it very brief. I tried. It's not a guitar-friendly track. It's so beautiful the way it was. So I was sat down. I had John, the biggest rock star on the planet at the time, certainly, and Phil Spector, the biggest producer. And they're saying to me, I said, "What do you want me to play, John?" He said, "Whatever you think is right." So okay. So I'm really under pressure, and I tried chording it, it sounded wrong. I tried finger picking it, and that sounded wrong. And then I tried playing little riffs, and that sounded wrong. And each time I'd go like that. Not my job to do, that's the producer's job, but I was kind of taking the role of saying, "I don't think this works. I don't think it works. I'll try this. Don't think it works." In the end, I said, I put my life on the line and turned round to the two biggest guys in music and said, "Look, guys, I don't think this is working. I think this track does not need a guitar or anything else. I think it's absolutely beautiful the way it is." And they kind of clicked off and John had a little smile on his face for a second, and I think he was thinking the same thing. And they clicked off the talkback mic, and I thought, okay, I've shot myself in the foot completely. And they clicked the mic back on, and Phil Spector said, "Yeah, I think you're right." So I took myself out of a house in the country and about £1 million in the bank. But I'd like to think that I made little contributions to keeping that beautiful track the way it is. Whether I did or not, I like to think so.
Wonderful story. Thank you
very
for sharing
good to
it
meet
with
you.
us. Thank you very much.
Okay, my pleasure.